conference is going fantastically well, and it really is an incredible feeling to have it happening here in my city, in my ward, in fact. And I'd just like to pay tribute and thank the party's leadership team, all the conference organisers and the local party for putting on such a great conference and making us all feel so welcome. Thank you, everybody, for all the work you've done. I moved to this city about 13 years ago. I was single, just out of university, and like many others, I moved here to start a digital business. I began to learn more about the city as I lived here and worked incredibly hard here, and I enjoyed all the good things this unique city has to offer. But I also became impatient about the things that I knew could be so much better here. And one of the things that I noticed was the strongest, most committed and caring voices on the issues I too cared about, time and again, were Green councillors and Green activists. And so, inevitably, within a couple of years, I too was a member of the Green Party, and every election I was out door knocking with the rest of them. Since that time back then, quite a few things have changed. I'm very fortunate to have a family, 2 beautiful children and a wonderful wife. And also, I'm rather more directly involved in the running of the city than 13 years ago. The other day, I got on the bus, and this gentleman sitting there said, "You're Kitkat, aren't you?" Yes. He grabbed my hand and shook it. "It is so great to see a leader of the council taking a bus." But the only difference isn't just that I'm recognised on the bus. The key difference, of course, is that finally, we Greens are in administration. No longer do we have just words to dedicate in pursuit of our values. We have power as well to put our values into practice. Yesterday, with my colleagues on the Green administration, we launched our midterm report on our achievements in our first 2 years in office. Yes, of course, we're minority administration, and at any time the opposition can and do gang up to outvote us. Yet in spite of that, we've delivered huge amounts. We have delivered, or are on course to deliver, 3/4 of our manifesto promises already, only 2 years in. It's quite novel that, isn't it? You stand for election on the basis of a manifesto, and then you go and deliver the promises. I think it could catch on. What do you think? A few of the highlights for me. First of all, delivering the living wage for our lowest paid council workers. Straight up. We've also narrowed the gap between our highest and lowest paid workers in the council to almost 10-1, another manifesto promise. We've protected our local economy. It's outperformed the national average despite the terrible recession we're seeing. In July alone, well, yes. In July alone, we had 1 million people visit this city, which shows that we are committed to protecting everything that makes Brighton special and makes people want to come and have their weddings, their conferences and everything else in this city, which is so vital to our economy. And guess what? The majority of people who come to visit us come by public transport. Yes, we are experiencing biting government cuts. In fact, we are the second worst council of our type in the country. Yet despite that, we've protected council services and protected all the funding for the third sector in this city. And again, we're making huge progress in transport. We had the panel earlier on with colleagues Pete West and Ian Davey. We are making huge progress in putting sustainable transport first in this city. The benefits to public health and improved air quality are clear, and we have been named the least car-dependent place outside of London. And as Rob and others have mentioned yesterday, We have become the world's first One Planet city, independently accredited by the environmental charity Bioregional. We are delivering on our promises. We believe in environmental justice and social justice. When we came into office, we discovered that despite having the most highly educated parents in the region, we had very poor secondary school results. We have brought, led by Sue Shanks, our Chair for Children and Young People, we have brought a new focus to school improvement, and this year we saw record GCSE results while the national averages were going down. If you have a spare 15 minutes, I would strongly encourage you to go and visit the Level just up the road. We've just invested £3 million in this city centre park. It's a green lung for our city, a fantastically high quality public space, and there are 30,000 households within 15 minutes walk of it. Go and have a look. It's truly incredible what we've been able to do there, and we're so proud. I could go on, well, yeah. I could go on all afternoon, seeing as there's about 100 manifesto achievements we've already delivered, but I'll spare you. Just go and have a look at it online, or in the other room there, you'll see it in large format on the Brighton Hove stall, so do have a look. I'm so proud of what we've achieved together as an administration. All the councillors, every council in the Green Group on this council are delivering our manifesto. They're working hard every day to make our values reality in this city. We are, of course, also fortunate in this city to have what is, without any doubt, the UK's most impressive and principled MP, Caroline Lucas. I'd like to personally acknowledge the incredible job she does representing the people of Brighton Pavilion and the Green Party in Westminster. Thank you, Caroline. I also can't wait to see what Jenny Jones does in the House of Lords, because I think it's going to be incredible as well. Congratulations, Jenny. As Caroline said in her speech yesterday, for us in Brighton Hove, this year has been tough, there's no doubt about it. It's not an easy time for local government. It seems to me that councils are continually the coalition government's whipping boy. At the start of this parliamentary term, local government was already independently found to be the most efficient part of government. But what has happened in the time since then? We have borne the brunt of the cuts. On average, local government, local councils that affect all of your areas have had their budgets reduced by 28%. And what have Whitehall done? They've only trimmed theirs by 8%. Those cuts are harming our local communities. We have to fight against them. We have to keep making the case that the cuts aren't necessary and that austerity does not work. But we also need to campaign for independence for local government. Because if we don't fight for local power, for local councils, for our local people, then our communities are always going to be at the whim of whichever government is in power centrally. We have to keep making the case for what we believe in, which is true localism and true decentralisation for our councils. But until then, until that time that when, we control all levels of government simultaneously, we do have a duty to do the best for our areas. It is always, of course, easier to criticise from the sidelines than to govern. But in spite of the bad times, we cannot abandon those who put their faith in us to fight for what we believe is right. We must make the most of what we have left to protect those in greatest need, and we will. Of course, this year we have had another challenge, which I feel we really must talk about. When we took administration, we discovered that successive Conservative and Labour administrations had failed to deal with unequal allowances for our council workers. They'd left it to fester for 15 years. They had repeatedly tried to push this dirty secret under the carpet in the hope that the next administration would come along and trip on it. We couldn't let this go on. We had to face the huge task of finally resolving the mass of historical agreements. the men and women of our council were being unequally compensated for similar work. Everyone knew this had to change, but only us Greens, had the moral fibre and courage to do something about it, to follow through on delivering fair allowances for all our council workers. Yes, it has been rough on the way, and we knew it would be, but I'm delighted to tell you, conference, that come the 1st of October, we will implement new fair and equal allowances for all council workers that meet our moral and ethical and legal obligations to the people who work for the City Council. As a result of this, many workers, but especially women, are going to see increases in their take-home pay. That's green values. Changing to a clean, green, fair future that we all want is just not going to be easy, and that was just one microcosm of the challenges we face ahead. The enemies of change, the opponents of fairness, the self-interested, the oil barons, the oligarchs, they will all fight us every step of the way. I say to you, as a party, we must steel ourselves to this challenge. We know time is short and the stakes are incredibly high. And yes, being tested in government is tough, but this is only the start of bringing our vision into reality. We need to find the courage to somehow retain our unique green traditions of collaboration and cooperation while being stronger and more united in the face of the powerful opposition that we see to our values. As a smaller, newer party, the odds often seem stacked against us. Yet in spite of that, we keep breaking through in Europe, in councils across the country, in Westminster. And I know that together we can do it again in Europe next year and beyond. For me, never has our message of a sustainable, balanced and fair future been more urgent and important than now. But we really must keep working together to win arguments, to win elections, to win power and to deliver real change. The better Brighton Hove we're building here today is just the beginning. Together we can do it. Thank you.